Hola a todos. This video will teach you about the past progressive tense in Spanish. This tense in English would be like the was or were, and then a verb that ends in ing, such as he was writing or they were watching. In Spanish, the was or were part is gonna be our verb estar in the imperfect tense, and then the ing part is gonna go with ando and yendo. This is very similar to the present progressive tense, which we learned earlier this year, and in Spanish 1, which is like is, are, ing, or you have estar in the present tense and then your NDO verb. The only difference between present progressive tense and now past progressive tense is now this is in the past, so that means the estar part has to be in the past tense as well. We're using estar in the imperfect all the time, because if it's like ing, that means it's an ongoing action. Imperfect tense goes for ongoing actions. So the way you conjugate this tense is I have my verb estar in the imperfect tense, so estaba, estabas, estaba, estábamos, estabais, or estaban. And then I have my verb that ends in ando or yendo for that part. If it is an AR verb, my AR verb is going to have to end in ando. If it's an ER or IR verb, then my verb will end in yendo. So this is the most important slide of notes to write down. Past progressive tense, it starts with estar, then you have your verb that ends in ando or yendo. I'm going to go through a few rules with how to form this NDO part and then do a few examples. Time for a few regular examples. So if I said we were running, I'd have my estábamos part for the we were. And then, so to run is correr. I'm going to take off my ER, make it end in yendo for running. We were running. If it were they were running, instead of estábamos, I'd have to have estaban for they. And then I still have corriendo. So that corriendo part does not change at all by the subject. If it were I were talking, I'd have estaba for the I was. Talking is hablar, so hablando, ending in AR for an AR verb. You were listening. If I'm doing the to version of you, I'd have estabas for you were. Then listening, escuchando. I'm getting from escuchar, take off the AR. And it's going to end in ando. And here's a few extra rules about forming the ando, yendo, ing part. In this tense, the stem changing is actually kind of similar to the preterite tense. You do stem change sometimes, but most of the time, no. You're only going to stem change IR verbs, and then you only change them to the first letter. So if it's an AR or ER verb, you do not stem change it at all. So that's the same as the preterite tense, never stem change AR or ER. If it's an IR verb, it only changes to the first letter. So like sleeping is durmiendo with just a U there. You learned all of this earlier in the year and in Spanish 1. I'm just going through it again because it's the same thing between both present progressive tense and past progressive tense. So if I'm trying to say preferring as a ing version, I'm going to have preferred yendo. I changed my E to I right here because it's an IR verb, just one letter. The one thing that is different from the preterite tense here is that it doesn't matter if it's like the he, she, ellos, ellas, or it could be we, yo. All of the different subjects get the stem change. So in preterite, we just stem change in the sandal, whereas here, every single subject would have the stem change because it's just this like durmiendo word or prefiriendo word just goes with every single subject. It's the estar part that changes by the name. So it doesn't matter if it's like we outside of that boot shape from present tense. The name doesn't matter. It's just the IR verbs, one letter. So I did the rest of this page. Pudiendo, pensando, and empezando did not stem change because they're not IR verbs. The next thing that comes up with this tense is sometimes there's going to be 3 vowels in a row. So since there's no accent marks in this tense, we cannot have 3 vowels in a row. So I did this example here with layer to read, reading, what became leyendo. When I did this, it had an E, an I, an E. I don't want to have 3 vowels in a row. So in this case, I have to change, instead of I-E-N-D-O, it's going to be Y-E-N-D-O. It's like incluir, it became incluyendo because there would have been 3 vowels in a row. This topic is only going to happen with ER and IR verbs because the AR ones just have 1 vowel in their ending, so it's never going to be an issue. It's like trier. If I did it regularly, I took off my ER, I add my ending endo. That's 3 vowels in a row, so it has to end up being endo. The last topic I'm going to go through with this tense is reflexive verbs. This is the same as pretty much every other tense with pronouns. So the same rule could apply with like direct and indirect object pronouns. But if I have a pronoun and it's 2 verbs, I have to either put it before my first verb or attach it to the end of their second verb. So if I did they was, that's not correct English, they were brushing their teeth. So the were part would be estaban brushing, cepillando los dientes. Because for brushing their own teeth, I have to put in the word say. And like my above rule says, I can either put it before my first verb, so I can have say here, or I can attach to the end of my second verb and put it there. The thing that you can't do is put it in the middle.